And breaking news today, we've spoken before about the Sinclair Broadcast Group, which made local anchors act for some silly script about being independent. You may recall it.
Treasure Valley communities,
the El Paso, Las Cruces communities,
Eastern Iowa communities,
Mid-Michigan communities.
We are extremely proud of the quality, balanced journalism that CBS 4 News produces.
But we are concerned about trouble and trending irresponsible, one-sided news stories.
And then Sinclair sought to merge for $3.9 billion with Tribune Media, although the U.S. Federal Communications Commission chairman had referred the matter to an administrative law judge for consideration. Well, now the deal has been called off and the parties are in litigation. Here to look at the details is RT America's own Holland Cooke, the host of The Big Picture. Holland, you've been following this for months with us. We appreciate it. What do you think? I mean, it was a weird story to begin with, right? Now it's become even more strange.
This is a story about hubris, a term defined from Greek tragedy, meaning excessive pride toward or defiance of the gods, leading to nemesis. And you have covered here on Boom Bust all three acts in this particular tragedy. The first was that mosaic, and how naive could Sinclair, a TV company, have been not to think somebody would mash up all those promos, betraying the fact that these local anchors were really just taking orders from headquarters. Act two, you alluded to FCC Chairman Ajit Pai, who himself is under investigation for paving the way for this merger by deregulating, in some cases, very arcane FCC rules that seem tailor-made for this. And Pai has embarrassed himself with some snarky videos about net neutrality. Again, an overstep. He was getting death threats for a while.
Yeah, really criticized for the net neutrality thing that they did,
He and his
right?
family have been under federal protection, so he's dialing it back and kicked it to that administrative law judge to duck. And Act 3 in the hubris was Sinclair had to spin off some stations. It was 170 of theirs plus 42 from Tribune, so they couldn't keep them all. And you're supposed to sell these stations at market value to entities which are at arm's length. One example, WGN-TV, Chicago.
They proposed flagship station there.
Iconic station, Channel 9, Chicago. They proposed it to sell it to one Stephen Fader for $60 million. Not a typo. Radio stations in Chicago sell for $60 million. And guess who? Stephen Fader and Sinclair chairman David Smith both sit on the board of a car dealership. So that just didn't pass the smell test. And now Tribune is suing Sinclair for $1 billion, 1/4 of what the deal is worth, because their stock price is going to take a whack.
It's crazy. We've just got about 30 seconds left, Holland. But, you know, this new entity was going to be get to about 70% of the households across the country with pretty much conservative viewers, conservative broadcasts, rather, competing with Fox. Will somebody pick up this mantle and try to compete with Fox? What do you think?
Whether or not they try to become the new Fox righty channel, Tribune is likely going to be in play. We're hearing of various other TV groups who would like to have a look at that prepared portfolio, and I don't think you've heard the last of them in another proposed merger.
The mainstream media, swarming with falsehoods, riddled with censorship and under corporate control, is incapable of truly informing its audience. It can't rise above the corrupt motives of those calling the shots. When you awaken to this fact, turn to RT America, where we dare to question more.